Hello, hello. I think the mic is working. Hello. All right. We're gonna wait 5 to 10 minutes until a few people come, and then we're gonna start building the product. Let me open the chat in both platforms for now. Hello. Gonna start in a bit, waiting for a few more people. I'm gonna see how many we'll have on both platforms, and then we can start. The idea is to start planning the app, and we'll start with the UI in Webflow, and then we'll slowly add the functionality to it. I'm guessing this will take about 4 streams if I do only 1 hour. Maybe we'll do more hours depending on how it goes. We'll see. Mm. I think my screen recording is stuck. Definitely looks stuck. Okay. There you go. Make this smaller. Not sure what to call it yet. We'll come up with a name later. I'm just gonna say Slideshow app for now. I'm really debating whether I should maybe use Wist, but I think we're just going to go with JavaScript and GSAP. Good old JavaScript and GSAP that I know how to use. Otherwise, I'm going to be lost trying to learn Wist. So I think we're going to stick with that. And I think it's going to be more fun if we just code it. I'm in frame. All right. Hello, Manny. Sorry, I just saw your message. I don't know when it came through. Welcome to the stream. I don't know how much you saw before you sent the message. We just started. Gonna wait a few more minutes to see if maybe a few more people show up. Then we're gonna start. I do have Webflow open, but the idea is that I will first start planning it, see how we're gonna tackle this project, and then we'll get to the building, or at least some wireframe, some simple design. But the idea is that it should look a lot like a simple slideshow creator like PowerPoint or Google Slides. But it will be built in Webflow. I want the animations to be very smooth, so we're going to use GSAP probably, unless we can do it with CSS, but I think it's just going to make more sense with GSAP. And yeah, hopefully we can do this. I also don't want to use any backend for this. So my idea is to use something like what this site uses. So if you try Svelte REPL, it's this thing here where you can do some Svelte code. And then like if I change this to Chris and it says hello Chris, it kind of saves a hash in the URL, and then you can share it, and all the information of this, whatever you have here, is encoded into the URL. So when you send it, it's there. So that's the basic idea. We're going to use that to save whatever slides we're creating. And then you'll be able to send the link to someone. But the other person viewing ideally should not be able to edit, but only view. So that's the main idea for today. Not for today, but for the project in whole. How are you doing, Manny? Where are you chatting from? So just going to do a quick wireframe of the very simple idea. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it. I just want a rough idea of what we're going to build. And I think it will be pretty simple in general. So this will be the slide itself that you will be editing. Maybe I'll give it a color so we know it's a bit more descriptive. Okay, so we're gonna have the slides on the side. You can click here to create a new slide, and whenever you click one of the slides, it will show here. Maybe not that big, probably be like a 16:9 aspect ratio, most likely. Thanks, you're excited to see the build. Yeah, I'm also excited to go into it. Let's see how much we can get done today in 1 hour. All right, so this is the basic idea. I'm not sure what I want exactly in terms of customizability, but I think we can start by just maybe allowing you to upload an image, and it adds the image here and you can move the image around. Or maybe for the very beginning of it, like the very MVP, we just upload the slide as an image. I think that's where we start. So that's our MVP. Upload slide as image. So this is what we're gonna start with. And then later we'll add some tools. And I like this kind of UI, similar to how Figma has. I do prefer it on top, I think, instead of at the bottom. I think we're kind of used to it from like Microsoft Word and stuff like that. So I think it's a bit nicer on top. So I think we're gonna stick with having the tools on top, and maybe we'll have something else at the bottom. I don't know, but yeah. So over here, we're gonna have whatever tools we're gonna add later. So maybe we'll have shapes. We can add like a feature to add SVG shapes, like a square, a circle, triangle, similar to these, maybe even lines. But that's quite a bit more complicated, I think. For now, we're just gonna upload the whole image. Yeah, I think it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Maybe we can even look at PowerPoint UI. So not much going on here, I guess, either, other than the tools on top. So yeah, similar to here. We want this slide, and for now we're not gonna have much here. So, oh yeah, text. I guess we can add text. But yeah, we'll start with the image, so we can design the slides in Figma, and then add them here. And then we're gonna add text and shapes and other stuff. Pretty straightforward. So maybe I'll already add like oh, let's add a T. This will be the text. Not sure how to show that this is an image. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think we're gonna start. I want it to be dark mode, very simple, not much in terms of color. So I think I'm just gonna start with it, to be honest. Anyone here? Say hello. Anyone wanna join, give ideas? What would you like to see as features? Hi, Nicola. What tool is this? This is Excalibur. Here, excalibur.com. I would usually use Figma for wireframes, but I found this recently, and I like how it kind of feels less pressure when it's low quality on purpose. It's very sketchy, so it's like drawing on paper, and I don't have to care about pixels and stuff. Save. Coming from LinkedIn. Good to hear. Thank you for coming. How are you doing, and where are you coming from? So this is the main thing I want to make, the MVP, and then we're gonna add more editing features to the slide creator. But I just want to make sure it works, and after that, I think we can make it work pretty easily. The rest of it, like editing, because after making the main UI, all that's left is adding more editing features. So I think it will be pretty easy. And I think we can start with this as a base. I don't know. Oh, I just realized my camera was hiding this. But yeah, this is what I want to start with. Just saw my post and hopped on. This tool looks super easy to do wireframes in. Yeah, it's perfect for it. I use it not only for wireframes, but also for explaining whenever I'm in a meeting or stuff like that. It's very nice to explain point or show how a database structure will look like or anything like that. Do you like how fluid it looks? Yeah, it's kind of imperfectly perfect. Like you can see that it's lines and it's different every time. The lines are not the same, but also they're perfectly imperfect lines. Like it's really nice to look at. All right, I think we can jump into Webflow now. Just realized I did not start from a starting project. Not great. I want my classes, so let me go and find Saddle real quick. So Saddle is what I use. If you don't know, I pretty much created this at the agency I work at, and I think it's a nice balance between easy and flexibility. I'm gonna call this, what did I call it? Slideshow app. I'm calling it Slideshow app now, but with maybe the chat can recommend some ideas, or maybe we'll come up with an idea later. But for now, I really just want to start building. I'm really excited for it. We delete the main layout, and we can move this. I don't want to remove the background dark class, but I want it to be only dark mode. Or we will keep both modes. It's fine. All right. So we're not going to care too much about stuff like section paddings, stuff like that, because we're only going to have one page and one section. So we're just going to have this page. We're going to have the sidebar. We're going to have this floating UI up here. And we're going to have the slide. The slide needs to always be 16 by 9. I guess these small squares also need to always be 16 by 9. And yeah, I think now that I'm imagining some stuff, I think we could put one of these. Can I make it look like what I want it to look like? No. Okay, so what I wanted to do is like okay, so we're gonna have like a full screen icon over here. Nice voice crack. All right, before I come up with any more ideas, I'm gonna go back to here. And yeah, I think I don't even need the section. I'm gonna remove this. So we have page, CSS, JS, section. I don't need these two. I think I do need. Hey, Eduardo. I'm drawing this in Excalibur. Nice to see you here, Eduardo. This is the name over here. Or this is the URL, excalibur.com. Actually, I'm gonna send this in the chat. There you go. No problem. All right. So I think we're gonna need a container just so that it doesn't stretch too much. So we're gonna keep the container, but I'm gonna change the max width. I think I'll go with 1600. And this, I'm gonna call it shell. I think that makes sense. So this will be 100 VH. This is usually what you do with apps. And I want to have some padding between everything so that it never sticks to the corners, to the edges. So I'm gonna do 8 pixels all around. Guess we don't need this. So I think I'll get rid of this padding over here. And in here, I'll do, sorry, layout. We'll do 100% height. And now the big question, flexbox or grid? I think I like flexbox for this. I think flexbox will allow us to change the width of this later on, or maybe even completely hide it, and this will change with it. So I think we'll go flexbox. Money, full screen button previews all the slides like slideshow. It should play like just like you do in like PowerPoint, where you click and it shows you the first slide, and then you can click either the arrow or space or with the mouse, and it goes to the next one. So it should play like that, like a slideshow. Okay, we have a layout which will be flex. Do we need gap? I think we do need at least a little bit of gap to 16. And let's do sidebar. For the corners, we can have, whoops. Roundness. I'll do this. Okay, we're gonna go with a some of this. Give it a padding of like 4 pixels maybe. We'll see. I want a minimum width of 160. Oh, sorry, width. No, it's still too small. I think that's good enough. And then in here, we're gonna have our first template. So this is the first slide. Let's call it slide thumbnail. Width is of course 100%. And we can use the ratio to make sure it's always like this. I don't know if the same is a good idea, but let's just go with it. So I'll do this roundness. I think I need a bit more. Yeah, but this doesn't work. Let me change this one actually. So this one is 24. It has 4 pixels of padding. How much does this need to be? 28 or 32? I think 28. Yeah, look at that. Nice. So in case you don't know what I just calculated, whenever you have 2 nested rounded elements, in order to make the roundness the same, instead of giving them the same border radius, you add the padding between them to the top one, so they look nice. Otherwise, it's not gonna look the same. One of them, the smaller one, would look bigger. So this will be the thumbnail. Start with the secondary surface. And then under this, we're gonna have, it's gonna be almost the same, but it will be new slide. Will be dashed lines, and gonna remove the background. Gonna have it centered. To be honest, I'm now realizing that we have to somehow show whatever the slides will have in here in a smaller version. I have no idea how we're gonna do it yet, but we'll figure it out with time. Okay, I'm gonna do the plus like this, just because, why not? Let's unlink this. Okay, maybe we're not gonna do this. We'll see. Let's start with this for now, but we'll see. And oh, nice. We need some padding, some gap. 16 is too much. 12, 8, I think 8. All right, got it. What do we think about the start? I think this padding needs to be bigger, at least 8. Yeah, much nicer. Okay. Should probably be a different color too than the background. Like the whole sidebar. By the way, I'm not a designer, so please don't criticize me too much. But if you have any tips, any ideas to make this nicer, please let me know. I'm just trying to build the MVP. I'm very open to ideas. All right, so we have the sidebar, and then we're gonna have the slide. I'm gonna call it slide wrapper, I think. Because I was gonna call it main. I think it makes sense to actually call it main. Now let's just keep it like this. So there's not much of a reason to do all of this nesting. I think I'll put this out here. Let me keep these just in case I need them. No, I don't like it. I'll keep the page. I like being able to close everything. All right. We'll make the stretch. And then in here, so in here we want the slide itself. And then we want some floating UI for the tools and for some other stuff at the bottom. Yeah, I guess it's very similar to this. We have the floating UI on the sides, on top, and some small stuff over here. And then you have the main content here. All right, so we're gonna make this flex. Center this. Center like this. Make sure this is relative. It is. And now we have the slide. I think as a starting point, we use surface 2 as a background. Width should be 100%. And let's make sure the ratio is always 16:9. And do I give this border radius? Yes, border radius doesn't make sense for these because when you do full screen, you're not gonna have any border radius, right? So I think we keep it sharp, or we do something very small. I don't love the sharp edges, to be honest. And I think we definitely need to increase the padding on the left and right. Yeah, 8 is not enough. Yeah, I think that was pretty fast. We built the main stuff, or the main UI. Cool. I'll just do just a quick floating bar up here. And then we'll do the small one over here. And then we can do the image upload. This is actually going a lot faster than I expected. Okay, I'm just thinking it needs to be in here in order to be centered, because I want it to be centered depending on the slide, not on the whole screen. So it's going to be inside the same container here, and this will just be in the corner. All right, so let's call this tools. Think so? Would be flex. And how much gap? 8. Eventually, I promise we're gonna have more colors than just the few that I'm using here. I just wanna have the main MVP going, hopefully by the end of this hour. And then we can improve the design later on. Let's do this. Gotta call it tool button. Of course, this is also not best practices. This should be a custom element. And there should be a button. I was gonna do this later, but might as well do it now. Not gonna take long. Okay. So tool button. We need like an image SVG here. Let me just do for now. I think I'll give it like a 40 by 40 pixels width and height. 8 pixels of radius. Let's do this. All right. Does this have a back? It does have a background. Okay, so we're gonna do like 4 pixels over here all around. Let's get a border. And wait, how much did I do here? 8 pixels. So this should be 12. Oh, 12. Okay. Again, I don't love that it's the same color everywhere, but we're gonna work on that afterwards. Let's do a little border over here as well. And let me look for image placeholder SVG so we can use SVG repo. Yeah. Okay. So the license is open. You can use it. I actually did not mean to download it, but just gonna open it in Figma and copy the SVG code. Okay. So I'm gonna make the SVG to be 24 by 24. It has a square with it that I don't need. And copy as SVG. We put it in here. I think we can keep the width and height. I would usually go with, actually no, let's do this just in case. 100%, 100%. Make sure the fill is current. Let me zoom in. Color. So now we can control the size and the color using Webflow. We'll do icon. Should be 24 by 24, I think. Yeah, perfect. And we can add here an area label. Add image. So since this is a button and it doesn't have text, we need to give it an area label so that screen readers know what this does. Actually, it might even be better to use title, because this way, when you hover over it, you'll get this little tooltip. It's not visible on stream. Damn. Right, so whenever you hover in apps a button and it shows you a little tooltip that says what it does, that's what is responsible for that. This attribute called title. I'm not sure how I can show it here, but maybe I can take a screenshot and can show it through this. Yeah, so this is what I'm seeing. So that's what we're doing with that attribute. All right, and the other one will be for text. So I'm just gonna make a T and copy it as SVG. Probably will make something a bit nicer for the text later on, but we're not gonna use it anyway. I just want it to be in here. Just so that it's not just an image up there. And once again, I'll change these to 100% and this to current color. All right. Make sure this is icon. Nice. Yeah, I think we can go. Although I think I might increase the padding here. No, I'll keep the small one. Okay. So the idea now, since we have the basic stuff, although wait, let me also add the tools down here. Add a div. What do we call this? Actions, I guess. Because now we're only gonna have full screen, but maybe we'll have something else in the future. Let me just quickly create the icon in Figma. Mm. All right, so I have this icon now. Copy as SVG. Let's put it in here. Make sure this is 100%. Save. Oh, I guess an icon. I think I'll call it a tool button as well. It should be pretty much the same. So, oh, this needs to be inside another div. And this div needs to also be a custom element, which is also a button. And the title here should be full screen. All right. Not sure if we still need the area label. I think the title does the job. Add title, add text. Okay, how much time we have? We still have 15 minutes. Okay. So, I think for today, for the rest of the 15 minutes, what I will do is I will try to add the functionality that will create a new slide on the side whenever you click here. And then we need to figure out what we do in order to show here only whatever slide we have selected and how we're going to do the thumbnails. Although if it's just an image, then it's pretty easy. You just show the image here. That should not be hard. Yeah, I think we start with that. Okay, so I can already publish this. Let's publish this because when I'm writing JavaScript, I don't want to start in Webflow and publish every time. I always prefer to write it either in a code editor or even start from here, start from the browser. And we can start typing in here. What is this error? Okay, that's not from us. All right, I forgot to turn this into a button as well. So custom element, this is a button. Let's do title, add slides. Cool. All right, so now we have that little hover thing. All right, so how can we work with this? So this button, I would normally use an ID, but we're not using this class for anything else, so we can use it. So I'm gonna say const new slide button equals document.query selector. We can select new slide like this. It's probably not the best class to use here, but let's keep this and we'll change it if needed afterwards. So new slide button. Let's add event listener. Click. So whenever we click, make sure we have some space here to work. All right. So how are we going to handle this? I think we either use this or later on when this will have stuff in it, I think then we should have one more thumbnail that is hidden somewhere so that we can use it as the template. So we're going to use this now just to quickly test how it's going to work or how it's going to look. And then afterwards, we're going to create like a hidden slide thumbnail somewhere. Not in the sidebar probably because it might mess with the way we're going to count afterwards. But we're going to have a hidden version of this. And it will be used as a template for creating new slides. So, sorry, let's say const template equals document.query selector. And we need a template for both the preview and the actual slide. So we're going to need to also have a slide as a template. Although this is just a div with the class slide, so we can easily create it as well. Yeah, maybe we just create the div. We don't need the template. Let's remove the template. All right, so let's do const sidebar then. Sidebar equals, just gonna quickly copy this. Sidebar. I did not mean to click enter. Let me refresh. All right. So shift enter in order to not submit this immediately. Seems like almost everyone left when we started coding. No one's interested in the code. All right, so we have the sidebar because that's where we're going to add the divs. And we need to add it to the top. It needs to be the first item, not the last. So usually you would use append. This time we're going to use prepend. So let's do const new slide equals document.create element. I think I'm doing this right. Div. no, let's do new slide dot class list add, and we're gonna add slide thumbnail. And then we just need to do sidebar dot prepend new slide. Later on, maybe we're gonna need to add children to it or something. Or maybe it's not gonna be a div, it's gonna be a button, which would make more sense, to be honest. Yeah, this should be a button. We're gonna turn it into a button because it's gonna be clickable. And if it's clickable, it should be a button. So we're gonna prepend it here. And yeah, this should already work. So let's see. Document is not defined, of course. Of course. There we go. Oh, it's still running the previous code. Let me just clear this. Nice. We are creating new thumbnails. Gonna need a way to delete them. I will do that afterwards. Maybe it's gonna be in the actions. Not sure where it's gonna be. I think we do right click. Maybe we override the default context and we make it right click delete. I don't want to add an icon here because then you could accidentally click it while trying to click one of these, although it's a big click area. We'll see. We'll see. For now, we can create, we have this to create new slideshows. And we should be also either removing or hiding this. We don't have any information yet, so we've got to figure this out. How we're gonna display stuff over here. But yeah, we still have about 7 minutes. So we can create new slides, or the thumbnails at least. We have all the UI already there. So I think what we do with the time we have left is we try to quickly make the uploading flow. So I need to be able to click the image and upload an image, and that image should show both in here in the slide and in the thumbnail that is currently active. So I guess we also need an active class on the thumbnail. So let's go back. This one, we're always going to have the first one as active. So I'm going to call this CC active. Let's do, going to change the border to the accent color. Yeah, so it's going to be highlighted like this. And now we're going to, wait, let me make sure this is a button as well. This is a button. We're probably going to give it a title programmatically. But for now, we're going to keep it like this. And now we're going to need to figure out how do we make this an upload button that will trigger an upload when you click it, and it will add the image here. And if I'm not mistaken, we need to have a hidden input that is of type upload. Or maybe we create it on the fly. I think that's how we do. So let's see, should we have it already in here? I think we create it and then we delete it. All right, so I'm gonna refresh. Oh yeah, code, we haven't put it into Webflow yet. All right. So when we click let's also do this, I guess. We don't have much time to do the upload. Let's show the active one whenever we click them. So let me refresh to remove that and clear this. So we're gonna have a function here. It's gonna be, I guess let's call it create slide. So in here, I guess I wanted to make it a function so that we can add the click listeners when you start to the first one, and then add it to the newly created ones. So I guess not exactly create slide, but initialize, I would say. And in here, we're going to have the event listeners, and we're going to give the slide here. So whenever we're here, we're going to do initialize slide, and we're going to pass in the new slide before adding it to the sidebar. And here we're going to do slide.add event listener click. And in this click listener, we will remove the active class from whatever was active before and add it again to the one we clicked. So let's see, let's do this. It's going to be called, what are these called again? Slide thumbnail. So we basically need this. And to const previous equals this. And then previous dot class list dot remove cc active, and I will do this basically. Slide dot add cc active. All right, so this is all the code so far. So when I click this, it adds new ones, and when I click on a different one, it changes which one is active. Except the last one. Oh, we didn't initialize the first one. Yeah, that's why I wanted to make a function for it. Right. So we need to run this on the initial slide that already exists. So we can immediately here do sidebar, initialize slide equals, sorry, not equals, sidebar there's something, I think there was something like first child. Yeah, that's what we need. First child. I spelled that wrong. I spelled it the English way instead of the American way. Initialize with a Z. All right. So we create this function that initializes the slide. We initialize the first slide that already exists. And then we have this button that creates new slides. So we can create new slides. And when you click, we can switch between them. And I think this is a good place to leave it. Manny says it feels so satisfying when code works like we expect. Yes, it does. Otherwise, I would not have been still a developer. That's the whole point. I think it's a good place to leave it. We have the UI. We have some very basic functionality going. So next time, we're gonna do the uploading, and the idea is that we save that as raw data. The image, you save it as raw data instead of uploading somewhere and then using the URL. So we're gonna save it as base64 data, and then we're gonna display it here on the big one and here, and then this data will be saved in local storage or maybe IndexedDB. But anyway, it should be saved locally on your browser. And then like whenever we click, for example, on this one, it will find the data of this and display it here. I have no idea how we're gonna do text or other shapes afterwards, or even like if we allow multiple images and you can move the images around. I have no idea how we're gonna make it work, but that's a problem for whenever we get to that. Now we just want to add images as a slide, and then we're gonna do the full screen, and then like clicking to go to the next or previous slide. That would be the main thing for the MVP. I don't want to go too far from these, so that's the main goal. All right, thank you for being here. Whoever stayed until now, this was really fun. I'm very excited for next week to continue working on this. Have a good weekend. If it's night, have a good night. If you're just starting your day, have a good day, and see you next week. Bye.